Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. My name is Lisa Taitelman, and I want to welcome you to Leading in a Crisis Virtual Summit, Actionable Business and HR Strategies for Navigating Crisis and Change. And today we have transformational coach and trailblazer, Lisa Taitelman. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Anissa. Thank you for having me here today.
I'm so glad you're joining us. This is going to be a really engaging and entertaining talk today about take your work outside because it's good for business. So again, thank you for joining us. We're going to get started. I want to say hello and thank you to our sponsors. The Whitmarsh Consulting Group I really appreciate all the work that David and his team have done for TurnKey and this summit. David and his team are incredible experts in the areas of multi-channel marketing. If you or your team would benefit from a marketing expert on your side, do reach out to David and let him know I said that he was the best. Also want to share with you guys two of our programs that are sponsoring our webinars. One are our outplacement programs, and then of course we have put together a team of diversity and inclusivity experts who are coming together to facilitate corporate conversations and nonprofit conversations with employees around racism, anti-racism, diversity, inclusivity in a way that is timely, of course, for what's going on in our world today. The purpose of those are to build awareness, to help educate one another, to develop communication skills around talking about really tough topics. So if you're thinking about doing this, give me a call. I would welcome the opportunity to share a little bit more and to learn a little bit more about your goals around diversity and inclusivity. Again, my name is Lisa Taitelman, and I'm the CEO and founder of TurnKey Coaching and Development Solutions. And this summit that we've put together has been incredibly fulfilling, as I feel like we've stepped in to invite experts like Lisa to provide really timely topics around racism and polarized views in the workplace, and around how to respond to a pandemic, and pivot a business, or emotional intelligence in difficult conversations. So check out the new talks that are coming online every day, every Wednesday and Thursday through July of 2020 now. So to get us rolling, I'm very excited, Lisa Taitelman, that you're here. I want you guys to know how to get a hold of Lisa, and I'll make sure that we share this slide again towards the end of the program. But Lisa has a really unique and special story to tell. All about taking your work outside because it's good for business and it's good for yourself. So I'm going to stop sharing. Lisa, take us through. What are we going to learn today, and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, thank you for sharing your mission, Anissa. I am a big believer in inclusivity and building community and all the awesome things you're doing. So I'm right there with you.
Thank you.
So my name is Lisa Taitelman. I'm known as, I am a transformational coach and also known as Trailblazer. My story really is one of loss and grief. I lost my mom when she was very young to cancer. She was only 58 when she died. I'm 56, so I know that, that's always in the back of my head, like how young she really was and how much life she had left to live. And when she died, it was a really dark time for me. I didn't even know there was going to be a tomorrow. I was completely paralyzed and stuck, and I was really close with her, and I just didn't even know how I was going to get through this overwhelming grief that I was in. It was a very dark time, and I was in bed for many days, and a friend of mine suggested that we go on a hike. She wanted to get me outdoors, and that hike really changed the course of my entire life as I know it today. I get goosebumps when I talk about it because it's really, I've been hiking for 23 years. And I truly believe my mom led me down this path, and I needed to find out what hiking had to teach me. I truly do. I needed to find out who I was as a woman. as a wife, as a mother, a friend, and really I got to know so much about me, because when you're out there hiking, it forces you to go within and get away from all the noise in our life, because we have a lot of chatter going on between our ears constantly, all day long. And when we're out there on the trails, it puts you in that present moment. So you are forced to go within and really find out things about yourself, sometimes not so good. Sometimes I ask myself, what do I need to learn today? I always do that before I start on my hikes. What do I need to learn about myself or the world? And usually the answers come, because like I said, you're in the present moment. And that's what I just love so much about being out in nature. So I just wanted to shout out this experience. I slowly started to heal and feel alive again through the countless trails I took. And I hiked mostly alone. And I think that I still enjoy hiking alone, but I started hiking with friends, and then my husband and my kids and my dog. My dog didn't know, he signed up when we got him as a puppy, that he was going to be hiking for thousands of miles. But he's really a good hiking partner. And, it's just been an incredibly healing, cathartic, I call it my moving meditation. And so I really wanted to shout out this experience to everyone I knew what hiking had to teach me, so that I can help others with their own challenges, their own struggles, whether they're going through loss like I did, a divorce, an illness, something challenging that they are at a crossroads. I attract a lot of that. So I didn't really know what that meant at the time. When I was hiking, people kept saying to me, you should be a tour guide. You're very inspirational when we're out here. And, you get us to the top of the mountain when we don't think we can. And, I always say to people, you're much stronger than you think you are. And I think that's what hiking does. It empowers you into this feeling of, wow, I didn't know I had the strength to get to that top. It's like a goal. Hiking is a goal. I'm going to get to that top. It's very much the same in life. We all have goals, and it's not a competition. It's just, it's a goal that we set for ourselves, and we do it at our pace. And when we get there, there's this sense of accomplishment that you feel when you get to the top.
Yeah. It's interesting because there's a lot of us, right, that love to hike, but don't necessarily make time for it. Mm-hmm. And when I was doing a little bit of research around hiking and how it relates to greater productivity at work and greater happiness at home, what are you finding? What happens when you bring your trailblazing message and let's get out and hike together program to the corporate space? Yeah. How is that received, and how are you getting through to those decision makers? So those are really two questions. How is it received, and how are you getting through the decision makers? Because oftentimes in HR, it's kind of hard to introduce a new concept. What? Yeah. You want us to go hike? What? No. We need to learn about communication. What are we doing this? So share with us your experience.
Question. So I'm a very people-oriented person. I'm all about building community. And that's really, I think, why this has been such a successful program, is that I hold everybody accountable to show up for themselves and for each other. No one wants to disappoint the next person if they don't show up for the group. So I think why that is a powerful thing in itself. So I live in a small town in LA, the last surviving small town here, and I have a ton of local restaurants, local, Lululemon is in here, and Alo Yoga. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they do a lot of sportswear for exercise, and they're very big in the whole like leggings and all kinds of that business. So I knock on their doors and I approach them and I tell them what I do. And I say, I live in the Palisades here and I'm all about team building. And would you be interested in me offering you a quarterly, monthly, a yearly, hiking series where I can bring your team together for team building. And they're always very receptive because it's about building their community as well. You know, it's a win-win situation. And so they so I'm working with Lululemon, and it's been, you know, that we're going to start, of course, COVID happened. And so we had to put everything on hold. But as soon as this starts to slow down, we can start doing wider trails and keep our distance. But it's really about that connection. So when I meet with them, they'll say, "Oh, I know someone who would love this." I get a lot of referrals and a lot of word of mouth because I've been hiking in these programs for 4 years now, and a lot of my business is through word of mouth and collaborations. People will say, constantly introducing me to people, or I'm introducing them to people. And it's just this snowball effect because everybody loves to work together. And really, I call it a sisterhood. You know, we all have this sisterhood that we work together and help each other. It's a beautiful thing. So as far as, so that's my local businesses. And if, like, let's say that you're in Pennsylvania and you want to work with me on this program. So I have developed a licensing program where I can actually, you can take this program. Let's say you have an in-house health coach, a wellness department, and they could guide it. I give them the trainings that they need. It's all done through my website, and it's very easy to learn, very doable. I know people who can learn this in a few days and start your groups right away. But that's really how it works, is mainly how I reach out to people is I'll reach out to like, let's say Lululemon will introduce me to a Lululemon in another area because they're all different locations. So I would have to work separately with each department in each state that they're in, if that makes sense.
It does. And why? Why would a corporation or an organization or a company want to invest in taking their people on a hike, for example?
Right. So it's a very good question. So, 90% of us, or almost 90% of us, spend the majority of our time indoors. It's just a known fact. We're in four walls, whether we're in our office cubicle, whether we're in a doctor's space, whatever we are indoors. And the benefits of getting outdoors, whether it's even 15 to 20 minutes with your team, gives you a vitamin D boost that we so need right now, especially during this time of COVID, for our immune system. Just 15 minutes. There's so much research out there that shows you all you need is 15, 20 minutes of direct sunlight on you for you to get your full dose of vitamin D. Other than that, it's good for heart health. It's good for depression. All this research about brain health and ADHD and all of this research for lowering our cortisol levels, which is our stress hormone. It's known to lower that. And it's no wonder you feel, or I feel so much better when I come back from a walk or a hike, because it releases this serotonin in your brain, which is good for productivity, for enhancing your team's performance, productivity. All of this research shows being out in nature with a group builds your community, it builds relationships. I hear it time and time again, every time we go for a hike, everyone always says, God, I didn't realize how much I needed this in my life and how I didn't know about these trails. And thank you for introducing me to them. And they've all become these avid hikers now because it's addicting, once you get this in your system.
Well, and that was some of the things that I was reading on your site, was just some of the stories of how a simple hike, just like with you, changed everything for you.
Yeah, I mean, humans are not designed to be sitting indoors all day. We're just not. We need to be participating in physical activity. We are born to connect. We crave connection with one another, which is why this has been so difficult with COVID. We all have this, stress and anxiety and being lonely. And there's so much evidence and research about that, how that affects your mental health. And, just for several hours sitting at a time, it removes us from this outdoor environment, and it leads to poor health conditions over time. You know, it can lead to, I know a lot of people who don't move. They have, you know, it's like being stagnant. Think of water in, you know, outdoors, sitting in a puddle. Like, what happens to that water when it's stagnant? It gets moldy and, you know, smelly, and there's no oxygen moving through your body. So the research about heart disease and diabetes and even cancer from not, you know, getting outdoors and leading this sedentary lifestyle, there's just high levels of stress that contribute. You know, a big reason, I believe, why my mom passed was that when we have dis-ease in our body, stress. My mom had a lot of stress in her life, and that dis-ease could eventually lead to disease.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we know from also that same research that stress is one of the number one reasons why people will leave an organization.
Yeah.
Is the stress inside the culture and the pressure. And yet we live in a business world where we don't get to let off the accelerator. You know, life is changing too fast. Businesses right now are having to adapt and in some cases completely pivot their entire focus of business. How exactly does hiking, even for 20 minutes, play into an organization's values around taking care of their employees?
So there's research, so much research about, first of all, better sleep. You know, we have such a problem in our world about lack of sleep. I mean, you hear about it I hear about it all the time. I always send out an intake form, and one of the questions before I start my groups is, how much sleep do you get? And I would say 80% of people do not get enough the sleep they need, which is a very crucial part of being healthy. And when you're hiking just for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or even a power walk, it helps that, again, the oxygen going and moving will help you with your sleep. It lowers your blood pressure, which means that, you know, you will feel less depressed because of the serotonin. It translates to fewer sick days in the office when you are healthy. And, you know, movement is one part of the whole picture. And I think why this has been such a valuable program is because it encompasses everything. It's the physical, it's the emotional. I do a share and connection. I set different topics for week by week or whatever, if it's a retreat, a weekend, and then we discuss that. And so I think it's so powerful as a team to really be heard. And I think that we all truly value that in our life. You know, I think that we all really need three things. We need love, we need to be heard, and we need to be understood. And I think that this program gives you all of that. And it's, you know, when you are heard and understood, it's a very important thing in our life. You know, so many of us are not heard. And I give them this safe space to do that. And it's very important to boost morale, confidence, community. It just really changes employees, you know, lives with being outdoors in nature, all with this glorious backdrop of mountains and oceans behind you. I mean, it's a really beautiful experience.
And what does an organization do when they don't have a mountain or a backdrop? You know, when I was training for my marathon in Houston, I was going to run the marathon I did run the marathon in Alaska. You know, our hills were like the sides of freeways. We'd go up and down our little bayou, and that's how we trained. So where do you go hiking when you don't actually have that kind of nature in your backyard?
Right. Good question. So everybody has so of all the demographics I've worked with, everyone has a river, everyone has a lake, someone has a beach, someone has a park, everyone has a park. Doesn't have to be hiking up mountains. This can be a power walk around Central Park in New York. This could be a yoga class outside in a park. It has to just incorporate some form of movement. I have people doing, even in cold weather, you know, they're doing a skiing program or a snowboarding, snowshoeing, which is also amazing, snowshoeing. So there's all different ways you can do this. It doesn't have to be hiking. It can be a power walk in your neighborhood.
Okay. And what does HR need to know about equipping their employees for a hike?
Right. So we have some pretty, our mountains are all pretty doable in LA. And I always give my list of my 20 tried and true hiking essentials before I send out, like a couple weeks before I start my groups. And I include in there everything that I've used through the years, my favorite hiking shoes, you know, walking stick. And I mean, I don't take these people on really aggressive hikes like Mount Kilimanjaro, because most people are very intimidated, or they don't have the, you know, they're always afraid before they join them. I'm not going to be able to keep up. I'm not going to be able to do it. So I like to make sure that everything is pretty doable. So I always include things like a little fanny pack or a waist pack, or I give everybody a swag bag when we start of all kinds of goodies that they can use on the hikes, bottle of water. And it's really nothing too aggressive. So it's not like you have to have an oxygen tank or anything like that, unless you're going to the top of, you know, Ajax Mountain in Aspen, which I don't have anybody doing that yet. So.
Okay, so water,
I give them journals,
sunscreen, some of the basics, and you okay.
Little journal, coffee mug. You know, it's a fun little bag, and everybody loves it. And my little hat, so everybody wears the cute little Finding Your Trail hats, and I see them all over town. It's fun.
That's awesome. And so you will work with your corporate counterpart to help them build a program.
Yeah, so what I do is I give them a complete done-for-you program with a manual, everything, audios and visuals, and then I have 4 training videos that show you exactly what I do week by week. What it is, it's a depending on your needs and your goals. I can do a 3-day program. I can do a 1-day. I can do it once a week for 6 weeks. It just depends on your goals, what you want to do for your fiscal year. Mm-hmm. So I customize it according to your needs, and I set intentions. So those intentions and everything I say and do is in an entire 12-week program. So they mold it. Either they take it and make it their own with their own coaches who guide it, or I train them through 3 VIP experiences, 3 VIP calls to show them exactly how I do it, and then I can train someone there. That's how it works.
Okay. So when does the trail go awry? You know, what happens if you're out there and something happens, someone falls, or there's, you know, a sudden storm, or, you know, how are you managing that? And how can our corporate friends and our organizational friends that are thinking about this really work those contingencies into their plans?
Yeah. So knock on wood, I haven't had anyone fall in all these years. I have everybody sign a waiver, first of all, before we start to protect myself and protect everybody in case something happens. And they all have to have doctor's notes before they start the program. So as far as accidents, I've fallen and I broke my foot last year. I mean, things happen. And, you know, it's interesting. I was hiking alone with my dog. It wasn't with a group, and he took off and I chased him and I fell. So things happen. But I do believe in the waiver. And then weather, I always check the weather 48 hours before I start my groups. And if it's going to rain, we don't get a lot of rain in LA, but when we do, my winter sessions, we get some rain. I will postpone the hike to another week or another day that week. So I usually do 2 to 3 groups a week. So if I have a group on Tuesday, I will move it to the Thursday group, and we'll do it then. But I usually change the hike to another week at the end, add it on, or to another day that week.
Mm-hmm. And And so if something happens while you're out there, two questions. One, how many are in a group that makes for a good sized group? Not too many, not too little.
Yeah.
And how are your groups taking care of one another if there is a challenge or an injury or
Yeah.
a
So
curveball?
I usually have 8 to 12 in a group. I max it at 12 because I think any more than that, we start to lose the intimacy within the group. And I got to make sure I have to keep track of everybody because I'm guiding them. So I usually take most of the trails we go are wide trails where I usually have them all within eyes, range most of the time. We all have each other's cell phones, and if someone is behind and they are, too far behind, but there's always someone. It's interesting. I don't think that there's ever someone alone. There's always someone together with someone else. So if someone's a little bit slower, they'll always have someone going with them. They're always with someone. And I always say, please all keep together. And we always stop along the way. It's not like we take off and it's like a race to the top. We stop at a bench that's like a mile up, and then we'll all sit down and have a drink and maybe a little snack. And, it's an experience I'm giving them. It's not a race. So what was the other question you had? How many in the group? And
Well, I think you answered both of them. And how is the group?
yeah.
I want to rephrase the question also, because part of it is it's just central to health. Getting outdoors, and what I'm hearing you say is critical to our health and well-being. And many organizations have awoke to the fact that taking care of our employees means having health and wellness programs, nutrition programs, encouraging healthy lifestyles. And so this, to me, is just one more way in which organizations can encourage camaraderie, teamwork or team development, as well as healthy living.
Yes.
And so on that note, I'm curious about how the group that goes with you or that goes hiking, what are their instructions around taking care of each other?
Yeah, so it's an interesting dynamic that happens every time. And I have beginners, I have some advanced, intermediate. Everybody takes care of each other. It's usually the one that's advanced takes care of the one that's the beginner, because everyone's supporting each other and uplifting each other. It's this experience about we're all going to get there together, and it's a beautiful thing to witness. And I've seen it time and time again. And it's just this powerful thing when women, I work, as you can tell, mainly with women. And I think that so many people, and men too, when I'm out on the trail and we stop, I offer a meditation based on this intention I set. And so I can't tell you how many times men have stopped by and said, can we sit in on your meditation? And of course, I have them sit in. So I'm going to start doing men's groups too. I think that men need it just as much, if not more, with the stress that they go through on a daily life. So I think that it's all about the support and engagement that we all give each other, and how important and how magical that is.
Mm-hmm. And you had mentioned that you will save a portion of the time together to have meaningful discussions or facilitated dialogues. Mm-hmm. How are you choosing those topics, or do you collaborate with your HR, the folks that are hiring you to support this Get Outdoors program?
So, through my health coaching education and through life experience, I've developed these 12 intentions, and I can't really say what they are because it's been licensed, but it's all about self-care, self-love, finding your trail. That's really why I call it Finding Your Trail, because it's about that journey that, a lot of us wake up one day and say, who am I? I've been doing this for so long. I've been a stay-at-home mom. I've been in a career that I'm burnt out in. I need more. I think that this is about people who crave more in their lives, that really want to make a difference, and find that certain something that makes your heart sing. You know, for me, I found it, and there's nothing like it in the world when you find that's something that you are here meant to do. And I just want to give that experience to people and watching it happen. And I think that's what coaches live for, is that moment, that transformation you see and right in front of you, someone having a transformational aha moment. And I've seen it over and over again. And I think that is so beautiful. Yeah. And when you're witnessing it out in glorious nature.
Okay, that's very helpful. Paige had a question. Do you have any experience or suggestions for implementing a similar type of program for employees with disabilities? So wheelchair, blind, autism, etc.
Yeah, good question. So one of my coaches is actually doing a program just for this. She has everybody meet at a park, and she does the program with them and has them incorporate some form of, you know, I don't know exactly what she's doing because she's doing a whole different program, but I can actually find out from her, you know, how she's incorporating this. She just reached out to me and told me that she's starting it soon. But they're all different, coming from all different places, and they're meeting in a park, and she's going to go through the program with them in the park.
So it's really about making sure that that environment is safe and accessible, given the disability at hand.
Okay. Exactly. Okay. I think she's got several people coming in wheelchairs, and so she's made it accessible for them, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Okay. Well, so I want to make sure folks know how to get a hold of you. And you also mentioned that you have an ebook that shares with people, you know, how to start their own program. Will you tell folks about that?
Yeah. So this ebook, I know I'm all about secrets and tips. If someone says, I got a secret for you, I'm right there. I want to know what it is, you know? So I put together 5 of my secrets on how to launch your own program. And my branding expert, who is also amazing, she put together this beautiful ebook, and it's through my website. So when you subscribe, you get to, it'll pop up and you can download it, and it'll give you my 5 top secrets.
It's right there at lisataitelman.com, right?
That's right. Yeah. Okay. How to start your own program. I mean, I forgot to mention one more thing before I forget. I also offer co-branding with companies. So if they wanted to do something together, we talk about brand ambassadors, we talk about affiliate programs. There's a lot of ways we can go with this, you know, co-branding. Like, let's say Lululemon wants to put their leggings in my swag bag, or I'm just giving an example. So there's a lot of different ways we can work together, and as partnerships too. So I just wanted to make sure I got that in there, because
I also know you had a couple of pictures of some of the experiences, yes, which I just loved. Tell us what we're looking at.
Okay, so the one on the left was actually my spring session. I love that picture. One of my hikers took it from, she was walking right behind us, and we were kind of halfway up the mountain. We were discussing the intention there, and I thought that was a really great shot. This is one of my favorite hikes, called Will Rogers, and just to the right of there, you have this incredible ocean view, and
gorgeous.
It's absolutely stunning. And that's actually my first hike that I do with everybody right there. And then on the right,
sorry.
That's okay. This was when we got to, I'm just going to move this over because it's blocking the picture right here. This was when we got to the top of a hike at the very end. So I put the first one and the last one. This is the most difficult one and the most challenging of all. Everyone always says, I'm not doing, it's called Temescal. I'm not doing that. I can't do it. And I saved this one for the last. Everyone knows this is the most aggressive hike. It's like 1,200 feet. You go like within a half hour. It's very, very steep. And we all got to the top, and all of them, it was just a moment. I get emotional when I look at it, because a lot of them said, I can't do this, I can't do it. And we all did it. And that was the moment we made it.
Wow.
It was cool.
I love it.
You can see the ocean behind. And this one was another one. I'm just offering you all different group shots. So that was another group I took up another hike in LA, and it's just gorgeous. And the one on the right, my friend Lisa she did a whole photo sequence of me out on the mountains. So credit to Lisa for her photography.
Love it.
This one is the bench that we all love and stop at. There's always a magical bench, we call it. It always comes at the perfect time when we're all like, we need to sit down. And so we all made it to this bench, and this was my very first group that I ever did 4 years ago. So this one is very meaningful to me because this was the start of everything right here.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So leave us with, if an organization is considering this, they're going to want to, or, our HR friends, for example, are going to want to make a business case for why this matters. If someone were to contact you, would you be able to help, build the business case for why a hiking program or getting outdoors program is a good complementary fit to perhaps what they're already doing around health and wellness in the organization?
Definitely. I think that it would set them out and set them apart with this unique program in wellness, because I don't know a lot of people doing this. I hear this all the time, how unique finding your trail is and how special, and that they don't know a lot of people doing it. So I think that it's only going to benefit you and your employees. And when your health is good, everything else is good. It affects everything in your life. When you could eat kale salads all day long, but if you're not completely whole with your, emotional, your physical, and your spiritual, it's like a car. It needs to be tuned up all the time for all the parts to work perfectly together. And that's really what this is about.
Agreed. Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us. If you have questions or you have experience of your own, please reach out to Lisa, share with her. If TurnKey may support you in your goals, definitely reach out to us. We can always be reached at 281-469-4244 and at our website, turnkeycoachingsolutions.com. So Lisa, really fascinating. I love the work that you're doing. I know that it matters and is making a big difference in that corporate wellness space. So thank you so much for what you do and for sharing with us.
Thank you, Anissa. It was really fun, and I really enjoyed getting to know you too.
Likewise. Thank you everyone for joining us. Take care and stay safe and get outdoors.
Exactly. Bye-bye.
Take care.